What is better, fasted cardio or fed cardio with regards to fat loss? Now, there's a big discussion. It's not even a discussion, it's a debate. It's as polarizing as keto or vegan, right? Fasted cardio or fed cardio. And you got people on both sides of the aisle just screaming, ranting and raving, talking about facts and science and what works and what doesn't work. But there is a pervasive confirmation bias on both sides. And I'm going to dispel that myth right now. I'm going to share with you the actual science. I'm going to give you context so you can best understand what will be most effective for you to lose the maximum amount of body fat in the fastest amount of time. Are you ready? Let's go. All right, guys, yesterday I posted on my Instagram page a simple little image that said, hey, fasted or fed cardio, which do you prefer and why? We got hundreds of comments, which is really cool, but one notable comment stands out, and I want to share that with you right now. Okay, you can see my Instagram post right here, fasted or fed cardio for fat loss, which do you prefer and why? Simple enough, innocuous enough. Well, you know, Layne Norton jumps into my comments and he says, please be sure to cite human randomized control trials. Layne, you need spell check, brother. Please be sure to cite human randomized control trials where people who do fasted cardio lose more body fat than people who don't. No punctuation. Come on, Layne. You're a doctor. You can at least punctuate properly, right? If you're going to call someone out, you should probably level up a little bit, but I digress. Now, Layne, he's polarizing. And let me show you. Layne recently posted on his own Instagram timeline, fasted cardio is not superior to fed cardio for fat loss. And he goes on to make his point. And hey, that's fine. Layne is certainly allowed to make his own point, but I believe there's a bit of intellectual dishonesty on Layne's part because Layne really loves to be right. He really wants to be right. And Layne, in my opinion, will hide science, avoid science, not use all of the available science to come up with an informed opinion. Layne often relies on confirmation bias. Essentially, what is good for Layne is what Layne talks about, and everyone in the industry knows that about Layne. Most people don't call him out because nobody really wants to deal with Layne. I mean, Layne is he's not your kind of guy. He's not my kind of guy. Layne is just kind of his own kind of guy. But that's a whole nother conversation, and we can have that conversation at a later point. Right now, let's just keep it to the science, shall we? Okay, Layne had said, be sure to cite human randomized trials that show fasted cardio produces a greater loss of body fat. No problem. Like, why are you relying on me, Layne, to do your work for you when that data is easy to find? It's so easy to find. I'm going to provide it for you right now, but I'm also going to provide a secret reveal in about a few minutes. In a few minutes, at the end of this, I'm going to give a secret reveal that will make this piece of data irrefutable. No one can criticize it, not even Layne, without exposing his own lack of integrity. I mean, how cool is that? So, Layne, allow this to be a very helpful learning moment for you. Allow me over here, a non-PhD, to provide you with deeper insight into what the actual data shows and the most appropriate way to really analyze the data and share it with our communities. Because at the end of the day, we are just vessels of information, sharing this information to help people live better lives, not just to grow our brand or get clicks or to monetize and make money. Now, mind you, I have no horse in this race. I don't care if fasted is better or fed is better. In fact, my paycheck has nothing to do with fasted or fed or polarizing opinions. I get paid for results. Results. I get paid to bring the world's greatest athletes on weight, on time, every single time, so they can perform at elite levels, win millions of dollars in world titles. If fasted cardio is better, we do that. If fed cardio is better, we do that. If a hybrid system is better, we do that. If standing on their head doing upside down jumping jacks is better, we would do that. What we do is what is best based upon all of the relevant scientific data applied against the anecdotal experience of world-class coaches like myself, world-class athletes like the athletes I work with, and our world-class peer group of coaches and athletes that compete at an international level. Now, briefly, I've been doing this for over 20 years at the international level. But most importantly, I am the only coach that can boast a 100% success ratio in bringing the world's greatest athletes on weight, on time, every single time for over 20 years at the highest level of weight class oriented competition. So at the very least, you have to respect my pedigree, my experience, and my insight. And again, I don't care fasted or fed. It does not do anything for me. The only thing I care about is what works. Now, I'm going to share with you what works right now. Before I bring up the study, I want you to know this study was not even my first choice. There's about a half a dozen other studies I would love to point to, and I'll share those in another video down the road. If you have further questions, hey, fine, we'll talk about those. But I wanted to share a study that was unimpeachable. It was irrefutable. Not even Dr. Layne Norton could criticize this study, right? So that's I wanted it to be fair. I'm not cherry picking at all. In fact, I let someone else pick this study for us. It's not even my choice. So let me share it with you right now. Okay, the effects of 6 weeks of fasted aerobic exercise on body shape and blood biochemical index in overweight and obese young adult males from 2022. It's a year old, right? So this is brand new, it's relevant, it's peer reviewed, and it does exactly what Layne had asked. Okay, so I've already ticked all the boxes. But at the end of this, there is the mic drop. There is the smoking gun. There is the big reveal. So wait for the data and then wait for the big reveal. Now, what are the confines of this study? The effects of fasted aerobic exercise on body composition and whether it causes adverse effects remain controversial. This study was to compare the effects of fasted and non-fasted aerobic exercise on body shape and blood biochemical indexes in overweight and obese young adult males and observe whether fasted aerobic exercise triggers adverse reactions. Well, this is awesome. This is exactly what we're looking for. Now, as a quick aside, this study uses the term FAE as fasted aerobic exercise and NFAE as non-fasted aerobic exercise. Well, that'll make this video really clunky to read through and to listen to. So what I will simply say is fasted or fed. Makes it easy just so you understand. I'm not changing anything. I'm just making it a little bit easier to explain. Now let's get into the methods. 30 overweight and obese young adult males were randomly divided into fasted aerobic exercise and a non-fasted aerobic exercise group. That's fasted and fed. But also they had a control group. Layne, are you happy, my man? They were subjected to indoor treadmill intervention exercise 5 days a week, combined with diet control for 6 weeks. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. These individuals were trained specifically under the supervision of the researchers. These individuals were fed directly under the supervision of the researchers. The controls are there, right? The fasted group, the fed group, and the control group were all subject to the exact same supervision. This is amazing. Now, the fasted group ate breakfast half an hour after they exercised. So they woke up fasted, they performed their exercise 30 minutes after exercise concluded, they ate their first meal. The fed group exercised 1 hour after breakfast. So the fed group, they woke up, they ate their breakfast, and then they exercised 1 hour later. That is the fasted group versus the fed group. Very easy for all of us to understand. Now, what were the results? Most importantly, there was quite a bit of information that was pulled from this study. And I'm going to leave a link to this study below. So take your time, go through this study, read every word so better understand what was found. But I'm going to highlight the most important part with regards to this video, which is fat loss. Fat loss. That is key to this specific video. Now, the results. Body mass index and body fat percentage decreased very significantly in the fasted and non-fasted groups after the 6-week experiment as compared to the control group. So the fasted group lost body mass and body fat. The fed group lost body mass and body fat. Awesome. We're off to a great start. But right now, hey, DOLCE, neither is better. Neither is better. Or is it? Well, let's read on. Now, prior to this study, before intervention, there were no significant differences in height, weight, body mass index, body fat percentage, or other data points, all right? So no specific differences here. But after intervention, I'm going to highlight this, all subjects except the blank control group had significantly lower body shape indexes than before intervention. Again, the control group, no change. The fasted group, change. The fed group, change. But listen on. After intervention, the percentage of body fat in the fasted aerobic exercise group decreased very significantly compared with the blank control group. Okay, so the fasted group, they lost body mass and body fat very significantly as compared to the control group. Awesome. We kind of know that, but now let's read on. The body fat percentage of the fed group decreased significantly compared with the blank control group. Now, this matters. Why does this matter? Because the authors of this study very clearly say that the body fat percentage of the fasted group decreased very significantly, while the body fat percentage of the fed group decreased only significantly, not very significantly. And that choice of wording is very specific to the next piece of data I'm going to share with you. Okay, now this is the smoking gun with regards to this study. The histogram of the change in body fat percentage before and after the intervention for each group of subjects. Okay, so this is what everybody wants to know. Who lost more body fat? Well, this graph is going to show us. Now, right here, this dark gray block, this is the fasted group. This light gray block, this is the fed group. And this white block, this is the control group. What do we see? We see that the fasted group started at a slightly higher body fat percentage than the fed group even. All right, so the fasted group was slightly fatter than the fed group. Okay, not a problem here, but what about the fat loss? Well, let's look here. After the intervention, at the end of the 6 weeks, what do we see? We see the fasted group lost a very significant amount of body fat as compared to the fed group. Look at this again, not my study, right? Not my study. When I tell you where I got this study from, you're going to be like, oh man, this is it. This is it. Again, the fasted group lost very significantly more body fat than the fed group. The fed group did great as compared to the controls. The fed group did a great job. I'd be very happy with that type of fat loss compared to the controls. Good job to the fed group. But if I'm going to be spending my time trying to lose body fat, well, I want to lose the maximum amount of body fat for the time and effort I have available. And the fasted group lost the most amount of body fat. And it's not even a close comparison when we look at this graph. We agree? Nod your head. We agree. Briefly, we can look right here at the body mass index. Once again, the body mass index of all participants, we can see we started here. They were kind of about the same, where the fasted group had a slightly higher BMI than the fed group, but negligible. At the end of the study, though, the fasted group, though starting slightly higher, the fasted cardio group lost a very significant amount of body mass index when compared to the fed cardio group once again. So the fasted group reduced their BMI by a greater percentage, and the fasted group reduced their total body fat percentage by a much greater margin than the fed group. Okay, I get it. DOLCE, you somehow cherry-picked a study. No, I didn't. As I said, this study wasn't even my first choice. There's other better studies, as good studies. There's other great studies out there that I've relied on earlier in my career and more recently when discussing this topic. But because of the scrutiny I knew that I would get, I wanted to remove myself, and I wanted to remove my own possible confirmation bias. And I said, hey, let me look around at other credible, respected experts that their insight would be unimpeachable with regards to this discussion. So, where did I get this study from? Well, let me show you. I'm glad you asked. This study has been used twice by Dr. Bill Campbell, PhD. Now, let me briefly show you the study. Dr. Bill Campbell, PhD, and wait for it, wait for the big reveal here, had used this exact study twice, once in June of 2023, once in July of 2023, when discussing is fasted cardio superior for fat loss than fed cardio. And what did Dr. Bill show us? Dr. Bill does a great job, Body by Science. Everyone go subscribe. Dr. Bill showed us, look, right here, what were the results of this study? The fasted cardio group lost 3.5% body fat, while the fed cardio group only lost 2.5% body fat. The fasted cardio group lost more total body fat than the fed cardio group. Not my words, the words of Dr. Bill Campbell as he analyzed the exact same data I shared with you. Now, what is the smoking gun here, DOLCE? What are you talking about? Well, I know some people will try and find error with this. They will try and criticize this. Don't criticize me. I'm simply reporting back on someone else's own opinions. And if you're going to criticize someone, then you should probably go back and criticize Dr. Bill Campbell. I mean, how are you going to criticize Bill? He's great. I'm not friends with Bill. I'm friendly with Bill. Bill Campbell, PhD, is a physique scientist, but he's an exercise science professor, right? He's a PhD, an exercise science professor. But more than that, stay with me here. Bill Campbell is business partners with Layne Norton. Layne, this is your own business partner. You guys are your business partners. How can Bill Campbell produce studies and point to studies showing fasted cardio is in fact more effective than fed cardio when you, Layne, say fasted cardio is not more effective than fed cardio? Whoa, think about that. This is your business partner. Don't take my word for it. Go back and look at the data. Look at all the data. Now, Layne, maybe you can say, well, okay, let me dive deeper into the studies here. And my buddy Bill was wrong. My business partner Bill was wrong. Or you could say, well, there's many ways to skin a cat. And there's a lot of validity to the possibility that fasted cardio just might be more effective than fed cardio. You can say that, and not be wrong. You can say that and be right. You can open your mind a little bit to all of the relevant data, especially when your peers are presenting the same data that have the same credentials as you. And in fact, you're in business together. How weird is that to have such a disparity between ideological beliefs and teaching points of two individuals inside the same teaching group? Imagine that. Imagine that. And again, I aligned with what Bill says. I said, yeah, that study's great. That study's aligned with many of the other studies out there. But now forget about that. I want to take this one step further. Briefly touching back on what Dr. Bill Campbell had shown. He had shown the fasted cardio group had lost 3.5% body fat in 6 weeks, while the fed only cardio group lost 2.5% body fat percentage in 6 weeks. Okay. So using this information, we're now going to extrapolate the data. Let's now take a look at an extrapolation of the data using this 6-week study as our starting point. Mind you, I wish this study was conducted for 12 weeks, 24 weeks, 48 weeks, but it wasn't. This is a 6-week study, so let's use the exact findings inside this study and slightly extrapolate the data for anyone that says, DOLCE, 1% body fat, that doesn't matter. Well, let me tell you, if you're 11% body fat and you get down to 10% body fat, you look a heck of a lot different. If you're 10% and get to 9%, ooh, baby, you look different. If you are a physique competitor at 6%, and your opposition is at 5%, you are blown off the stage. 1% body fat, it matters. But with regards to this study, again, this is now just an intellectual conversation to draw comparisons to the benefits long-term of fasted versus fed cardio. As we look at this, we can see that starting point, and the subjects in this study, they started at approximately 26% body fat. At the end of 6 weeks, inside the study, and Dr. Bill Campbell also agrees, at the end of 6 weeks, the fasted group was at 22.5% body fat, while the fed group was at 23.5% body fat. Now, if we extrapolate that data, we can see at 12 weeks, 18 weeks, 24 weeks, now at 30 weeks. At 30 weeks, one of these subjects, all of these subjects, had they adhered to the same protocols and had the same rate of return on that time investment, they would be walking around at 8.5% body fat, which is elite. Not many males walk around at 8.5% body fat in their adult life. If you are at 8.5% body fat, you look like a stage-ready bodybuilder to every civilian who ever see you. But at that 30-week point, the fasted group could be at an amazing 8.5% body fat, while the fed group is at a respectable total reduction, but the fed group is at that dad bod-esque 13.5%. No disrespect, 13.5 is a great move forward, but 13.5% is still a little dad bod-esque, right? You can kind of see the shadow abs popping through, but you're not ripped. You might have a bicep vein. Hey, that's fine, but you're not shredded. You're not peeled. And that might not be your goal. And hey, that's fine. But would you rather diet for 6 or 12 or 18 or 24 weeks when you can diet for an entire season less than that? Simply because you used a fasted protocol instead of a fed protocol. And to close this little extrapolation out, it would take you 30 weeks to get to 8.5% body fat as a fasted cardio proponent. And by comparison, it would take you 42 weeks to get to that same body fat percentage simply because you ate your meal prior to exercise instead of after exercise, while eating the exact same meals and the exact same calories. That was the only difference of this study, by the way. They ate the exact same meals in the exact same caloric load. They simply ate it either before exercise or after exercise. If If that is the only difference to yield such a high net return, why are we not talking about that? Why are we not allowing that to be entered into the conversation? Why is that being poo-pooed and pushed away? That makes no sense. Open the door to the possibility, but if you're going to talk about this issue, you must include all of the data. Now, briefly, fasted cardio just might not work for you, and hey, that's fine. You might be too busy. You might not be a morning person. You might have kids. You might have job responsibilities. You might have something going on in your life that you don't have the time for it. You don't have the motivation for it. You just don't have the desire to do it. And that's fine. All cardio is good cardio. So please perform your cardio, live long and prosper, right? Live a long, healthy, functional life. But if your goal is dropping the maximum amount of fat loss in the most efficient way possible, in the shortest amount of time, you cannot discount the scientific evidence that supports the benefits of fasted cardio. That's all I have to say. Those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Please leave comments below this video. Let's have a more robust discussion and give it a try. Just give it a try. Don't take my word on it. Forget that I'm the most successful weight management coach in the history of combat sports. I mean, forget about I've already produced a peer-reviewed scientific study that clearly demonstrates the benefit of fasted versus fed cardio. Forget about that. Test it out in your own house, in your own life, and let me know 6 weeks, 12 weeks from now what the results are. Thank you guys for being here. Until next time, boom.